So, welcome to the stream. So it seems we got everybody arriving here in the chat. There's at least 25 people. During my last stream, I had multiple requests that I would ask Gavin to join me here on the channel for some drone talks. And luckily he said yes to join me. So let me see if I can find him somewhere in the drawer here below in my studio and bring him live. So, hey, Gavin.
Hello, everybody.
So nice that you had the time to join me on this stream that was kind of requested. It's a, what can you say, viewer request.
Oh, I don't know about having the time, but I'm here.
So, and it's I guess this is the first time at least that you're joining here on my channel. And
yeah, indeed.
We did have a little bit of a technical problem starting out, but this is how it is. This is how it is live.
we put some money in the meter and we're up and running now.
yeah. But it's like that when you're doing live stuff. Then there's always room for errors.
Absolutely.
Both you and I know that we cut most of that out during our normal video production.
Thank God for editing.
And if we don't, then we'll leave it in by purpose. At least I do sometimes, because that make people actually comment. So yeah. So let's see. We have a lot of people in the chat. We had like 27 people watching right now. So this is super nice. We can get even more in here if you decide to press the like button and not press the dislike button. And if you do that, then you do it twice. So that will make the number go up. Oh, now it actually went down a little bit, but this is how it is. So yeah, let's just see what we have here. We have a lot of people joining here. Maybe before we even start out, Gavin, you should just shortly introduce you to yourself. Maybe there are some people from your channel that has joined here today, but there's probably also a few from mine, so that don't know who you are. And if they don't,
yeah, well, obviously I'm Gavin. Go by the channel GavinHR, and basically, just to sort of plug Henrik a little bit, is I sort of fell into the drone world by kind of accident. You see, me, when I first started YouTube, it was more about cars, to be perfectly honest. And that was sort of my main passion. And then, back in sort of, was it April last year, I picked up a DJI Mavic Mini. And that was more about just being able to film cars and do bits and pieces. And that's basically when I sort of struggled for range. And then I actually found Henrik's channel, where he'd done some sort of FCC hacking and instructions, etc. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. The hardware eventually ended up being different, didn't it? So it wasn't really applicable. And then I just started testing range extenders, and obviously from then on, my channel just sort of boomed when it came to sort of doing sort of range tests, and I showed different ways on how to actually improve signal, because it's not just about sticking a range extender on and manual channels. And then it sort of expanded to testing the DJI Fly app and the firmwares, etc. And as you know, I've done a few videos on the other bits and pieces as well, which is stuff I really enjoy. I sort of enjoy the ND filter side of it, and the tutorials and testing products and reviews. That's what I really enjoy. But it's come to the stage now where so many people actually watch my channel for these firmware and app updates that
you've done a pretty fair deal of those.
Yeah, and that tends to be what people come to my channel for now. So it's like I feel compelled to do that sort of video, even though really I enjoy the other stuff more than anything. Yeah, some of my tests I really do enjoy, and I've proven time and time again that certain firmware can affect your signal, and I've shown it. But yeah, I actually enjoy the review stuff. But all the time, you guys want my help when it comes to app updates and everything else. That's why I tend to do them.
But you're also very fast. I have a hard time keeping up, beating you too.
Yes.
Well, to an extent, I managed maybe 1 or 2 times to do it, but in general, you are way ahead of me.
It's difficult because I still try to cater for everybody that potentially watches my channel. So I like to cater for the Mavic Mini and the Mini 2 and the Air 2S. And when you've got one DJI Fly app controlling all of those features, And you know, one little change, I might have to scour through the app and do flight tests on all three.
Yeah.
And trying to condense that into a video that I think people will watch for about 6-7 minutes, it's quite difficult to do.
Yeah, it is. And when I've tried to do it fast, I basically miss most of it. So when I get back home, seeing other people's videos, then I've overlooked the most obvious. But that's because I hurried just to do it. And
yeah, thankfully, I mean, even though I have, I mean, for those of you that know that I work in the shipping industry and my job really is 24 hours a day, and I only get 2 actual days off a fortnight where I'm actually free. So a lot of the time I'm editing, filming, trying to bring you the updates. If I get an early finish in an afternoon, or as you know, quite often I will do an update in my office. I tend to carry a DJI.
I've seen that.
Yeah, I tend to carry one of the drones anyway, usually the Mini 2, because that's my biggest audience, in the car with me. So if I see that there is an update, I can potentially go to my car, grab the drone, and just have a quick look through the app and, you know, just see if there's anything new. So yeah, it's quite a bit of pressure really. But actually, you know, just to say about your channel as well, you know, your channel was an actual inspiration for me. And seeing the way that you do things and the way you've built a community that trust what you say, that's really what I want from my channel. I want people to know that if they come to my channel, they're going to get the right information. And sometimes, yeah, I upset people. And I think I upset a lot of the people when I mentioned about the altitude issue with the Mavic 3. And so many people hated that video. They said, you know, how can you possibly tell from one little clip? And it turns out, you know, once people started getting the Mavic 3, my hunch was correct. And, you know, just.
But we have discussed this many times offline as well. I've done multiple experiments with this, trying to tweak the headlines of my videos. And even though I'm not a big fan of pushing negativity, but it tends to do much better than if you do like a positive twist on things.
I mean, as you know, for most of you that are watching this video, you know, us YouTubers don't like, well, I certainly don't like to do clickbaity videos. I try to stay away from it as such, but sometimes when you've got something negative to say, you have to say that it's negative or there's a problem, because then, people, I think you said it, didn't you, Henry, that people love bad news.
That's proven over and over again. You could just look at any tabloid. You can see that it's plastered with bad news basically, and people buy it anyway. So it's like, but it's it's sometimes difficult how you need to put out a message. But also I exaggerate my headlines sometimes. At least there are people that accuse me for doing clickbaiting, but at least I try to stay within the frame. It's not like I'm putting boobs on the thumbnails and stuff like that. That is completely in another area.
It's relevant. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that normally gives a lot of discussions back and forward. There's no doubt about that. But sometimes it's also difficult when at least I know that you have been having the same kind of thinking, that doing these videos that are sort of the same and the same and the same, that gets kind of boring. And we really want to like to break out a little bit and do something different.
Because obviously, you know, when I started doing this, of course, as much as I've got experience with drones, you know, when you're starting a YouTube channel, which of course many of you might be interested as well, you know, in as well, that you're sort of having to learn the editing side of it, and you will naturally, I mean, I tried to start my YouTube channel on a budget. You know, I really did. I used a little £120 action camera. I was using a £10 microphone. I bought an £80 green screen kit just to try and advance. Absolutely. And then it gets to the point now where you're buying sort of £700-800 cameras, because they really do, you know, improve the experience for the viewer. But then that tends to come in time, you know, and you realize that you're constantly having to learn and evolve and make your videos better. But you know, like I said,
I'm shooting at a full frame camera right now, and this is purely paid by YouTube, because everything that I make on the channel, I reinvest that to increase the image quality. I also invested in microphones and lighting and all sorts of stuff. And this is Yeah, but you can start out. You came quite far with just the Osmo Pocket. I think you ended up using for a long time, and then you got like an external microphone on that one, and that helped a lot.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
Eventually you went with the microphone. Is it a USB thingy that you have?
It's actually just 3.5 mil jacket straight into the camera. It's
Okay,
actually
okay.
yeah. It's again not a particularly expensive mic, but it makes a big difference. I think I paid about £35 for it. So yeah, for anybody that is starting out on YouTube, you don't need, providing your content is watchable, you don't need really expensive equipment. It's only when you want to take it to that next level, really.
Yeah. Okay, maybe we should turn the discussion a little bit back to drones, because I guess this is what the majority of people here are for.
Of course.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Mini 2, those are the drones that carry most of the content as it is right now. The Mavic 3 has also been carrying a lot of comments, good and bad, for at least a couple of months now, since we started to see the first leaks. You haven't been doing that much on the Mavic 3, but I've been doing a lot of rumor videos on that. And
yeah, I mean, the thing is with the Mavic 3 is I have a slightly different approach to this, because I think a lot of YouTubers did say that it was too expensive. And for me, I didn't want to make the same mistake by talking about the Mavic 3 and it being expensive, because who is it? I'm nobody to judge what your budget, if you're watching this, might well be. If you're happy to spend that amount of money, then that's entirely up to you. If you've got it, spend it. And yeah, but for me, the reason why I not really cover the Mavic 3 is because it's not ready.
Yeah, so it's pretty half baked, and yeah, and you're probably right. But what the comments that I've made about pricing for this one, it is that it is an expensive drone. Then you can argue if you're getting enough value for what you're paying, because it is like a premium drone. It can do a lot of stuff that the normal series of drones can't. But still, if you are like a family guy, a hobby flyer that only uses the drone in the weekends,
yeah,
it's a lot of money to go and put towards your hobby. But you can do that. There are people that are buying carbon bicycles that are twice the price of the Mavic 3, that only bicycles them in the weekends. So of course you can do it, but
yeah,
I just think it's in that way. I think they probably positioned it right for whatever it can do, but it's it will be out of reach for many people.
Unless you are extremely pro, the Air 2S can probably do what you need it to do.
It can, and also I have a very nice combo of the Mavic 2 Pro, and together with the smart controller, where the smart controller actually works pretty well in that combination, and it's perfectly fine, and I don't need that upgrade, because the sort of the clips or sequences that I've sold in the history of the channel, I've produced those with the Mavic 2 Pro, and I don't think I would be able to sell more if I fly a Mavic 3, basically.
Yeah,
because to sell your footage requires a whole lot of other type of work, and I'm not sure that the Mavic 2 versus Mavic 3 will make much of a difference.
Of course, and you've also still got a lot of people as well that, people still have big screen 1080p monitors, and you think, you're not seeing the quality when you watch it back. So, I think it's a lot of money for what it do. And
you're actually one of the few that has commented back on me saying that you're watching some of my videos on your 4K television, and if
yes,
and at some point I did a mistake where I was rendering out in 720p.
Yeah,
and you could see that, and I couldn't see it because
you
normally
see
on the phone you can't see it.
Yeah, you see, just a quick one to some of the the followers on my channel as well, is I do actually watch a hell of a lot of your content. I try to give back, and I try to support other people's channels by liking their videos and and watching them. But the trouble is, I like to enjoy. I when I watch YouTube, it's in my downtime. So I tend to do it in my living room on my 4K TV. So that's why I don't really leave comments on people's videos, because it means I would have to pick up my phone, go to my history, and then comment on your video. But yeah, I do watch a lot of your videos actually. So I do try to give back to the community as well. And as you know, if you are a viewer of my channel, I do try to respond to absolutely everybody. And I don't just post a video and then leave it. Despite the fact I'm incredibly busy in my personal life with work, and obviously, I have my daughter as well. I still try to answer people's questions as much as possible. So I really try to put the time in for you guys, because I value everybody, and I know you did the same, Henry.
You are, but you are way more disciplined at doing this than me.
It's just my own philosophy that I think that if you continue to engage with the community, people will recognize that, and they'll trust what you say.
But I also have to give you credit for that, because your community is pretty strong with the channel size that you have. It's really some really good quality comments that are being put below the videos, and people are really active when you put something out.
That's always positive.
And I wish that I've learned that lesson a while back when I started the channel. I ran the channel basically German style, straight to the point, cut everything out, and didn't just put my effort in putting out videos, and didn't engage that much with the community in the beginning. And that was a big mistake.
Yeah. And to be fair, I am actually in person, I'm quite a confident personality. I mean, in a past sort of career, I had a heavy sales career, so I constantly talk to people on a daily basis. And I obviously work in shipping, where I deal with completely, multi-nationalities on a daily basis. And sometimes I think that it's difficult on camera, because I think my personality comes across quite stiff and to the point. And I think that was born from the fact that I wanted people to know that I was serious and I knew what I was talking about, when maybe if I was a bit more, as I am on this stream now.
You were so stiff in the beginning.
I know, absolutely.
But that's
fine.
I
was on the shores of the Humber in the UK, and I was stiff cold. I couldn't move.
Roberto Blake, one of the guys that advise on how to grow on YouTube, he says that you have to go and produce 100 videos, and then you can start complaining. If you haven't seen growth after 100 videos and haven't improved, then you can start complaining.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, let's push this one into like comment mode, and then let's see if we have some interesting comments here. And so a lot of people here. There's actually 41 people here. So I guess somebody pressed the like button somewhere. So let's see here. There's a lot of people that are coming from different places: Michigan, Colorado, UK, Bucharest, even Alslev. That is close to my old hood in Denmark. That's a very local spot. If you're not from Denmark, you wouldn't know where that is. So let's see here. Let's see. There's from that's this guy, old fart with a GoPro. I think that's such a funny name. I've seen that pop up from time to time. So, and also howdy neighbors from Sweden. So let's see again. So there's some kudos to you here with the test that you did with the Yakis. And you did a lot of testing in the beginning. That's at least what got me stuck on your channel was all your range extension testing, because the first mini was really, really bad at keeping connection.
And for anybody that says that range extenders do not work, they do. Okay, I know they're not mechanical. I know they do not directly attach the antenna, etc. But out in the open countryside, I mean, obviously it's been massively frowned upon now because there has been a much tightening of the rules and regulations. So I wouldn't suggest anybody flies this sort of distance. But obviously, if you are familiar with those videos, it was done in a completely sort of sterile environment across the banks of the Humber. There was nothing I could hit anywhere. And, you know, they've increased my range from around 1,500 meters to 5,000 meters. I mean, it was seriously impressive. You know,
you at some point you put a video out where you're saying that you could basically get the same range as you could with the Mini 2 by using these extenders.
I beat it. Yeah, I did a test, and on it was literally the day that the Mini 2 arrived. I think I just charged a couple of batteries, went out, and yeah, I mean, obviously the Mini 2 is absolutely great, and you know, just to sort of plug a video, if you don't understand what OcuSync is, I have done a video on it really, where I explain why OcuSync is actually better. But yeah, on that day, I did a flight, and OcuSync topped out at 4,000 meters, whereas the Mavic Mini continued with a range extender to 5,000 meters, and yeah, it was quite good. And obviously, one thing to comment as well is, I know obviously going back to all the technology, but the battery drain on the LiPo batteries was much more linear. So it's the battery went down so much more smooth, really. Whereas the Mini 2 with the LiPo batteries tend to drop off. So I had a bit more confidence pushing the Mavic Mini. I wouldn't like to do that with the Mini 2 and the LiPo batteries, to be honest, because as you're fully aware, they just drop off once you get to something like 30%. You think, oh, I'm nowhere near.
But that's definitely one of the reasons why I still love my Mini, is that it's always charged, it's always ready to go. It hasn't like auto depleted inside the bag like the LiPos are doing. So I still use the Mini once in a while, but that's also because I make videos about it together with the SDK, which we hopefully will get for the Mini 2 by the end of this month. That could be really, really cool. Then we have a whole new ball game of doing videos with the Mini 2.
Well, you've done a lot of work with Litchi, haven't you, and the Mavic Mini?
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that needs to be explored as well, because any Mini 2 owner, because we don't actually know when we're going to get a Mini 3. I think a lot of people have been speculating for a lot of time. And, you know, usually with DJI, if there's a new drone coming out, it will take months. There'll be months of speculation before it eventually gets here. There is always leaks, but for the moment, there's nothing. And you know, Litchi, for example, is a really powerful tool when it comes to the DJI Mavic Mini. Obviously, you've got waypoints, and obviously you've got follow me, etc. And you've done a lot of work on that, haven't you, Henrik? And I think it'd be good for people who've got the Mini 2 to go back and watch those videos just to see what you'll get once DJI.
you can even do active track. It's not, of course, not as good as you can see on the bigger drones, but it works.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's and the waypoints is also pretty cool to use that. So, but it requires support from the SDK from DJI, and right now it's only the Mini that does this, and the Mavic Air 1 and Air 2, but not the Air 2S and definitely not the Mini 2. This is what we hopefully will see by the end of this month.
Yeah,
according to the roadmap that was posted on the developer side of DJI.
And one thing you guys would really, really like, one of my most favorite features of Litchi, is the automatic recording when you take off.
Yeah, that's a nice one. That's a nice one. That is definitely a nice one. Yeah, there's another one. There's a cadeau to you. You are the king of the Fly app update.
Thank you. As we discussed, it takes a lot of time, but you know, and try to piece so much together. And I think I'm getting quicker at it as well. But obviously, there's a lot of drones under that DJI Fly app now, so it's difficult to try and show all the features, but we try.
So let's see. There's one that says that it was my fault that he got into droning. I'm sorry about that. I really hope that you enjoyed. And there's also one here that said that Cliff that says that of course they want people that they can trust, and just a comment to what you're saying is that of course we should put out the correct information, but I do have to admit that sometimes I have put out information where I later have learned that it was not correct. So you also need to be like a straight guy and go to and then make a video and correct your errors, basically, because it's a learning process. And even though people consider us as experts, we're also learning along the way when we are playing with stuff, and we are getting wiser all the time. So the people that are just yelling at us because we said something wrong, it's really not justified. They should just much rather just leave a comment and tell us where we are doing wrong, and then we can do a follow-up video and correcting that.
Yeah, one of the things, one comment I think I had, which was possibly negative on one of my videos, is saying that when I do my fly up updates, I should allow more time. But if I've tested everything, I know what works and what doesn't work. It's not good to suddenly work one day, then not work the next day. So if you do it in 10 minutes, or if you do it in 10 hours time, or 10 days time, the result's going to be the same, really. So if something works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah. With that type of videos, it's very easy to put forward what they want. Yeah. Just put it like it is.
Yeah.
So no big green is here. We were all on the other chat. Yeah, I guess we lost someone in the transition when I had to make a new live stream. I don't know what really went wrong with the technology there when we started out. So, and everyone found their way over here. At least there's a lot of comments here. There's a guy from Wisconsin here. And Nobby says hi. Hi, Nobby.
Hi, Nobby. Nobby, actually, just a quick word on Nobby. He's nearly at the 1,000 subs, so he does a few drone videos as well. So of course, if you fancy checking out his videos and subscribing, we can all try and help each other out as well. So
yeah, I noticed that he's also pretty fast at putting out stuff around the new software updates that are being available. So let's see here. This one it's not negative. These are not inexpensive, and all I ask is they do what they say they do. Yes, I guess this is tied up to the Mavic 3, I would assume. And that was basically one of the big problems with that drone, is that if you watch the marketing material of the drone when they announced it, it was not clear that you wouldn't get everything from the start. Maybe that's logic, but I know at least a lot of people were disappointed. And also the reviews, they were really bad this time because there was so many leaks out there that basically confirmed everything that was being delivered with this drone. And when we saw the reviews and they couldn't access all the fancy features on the drones, it was so boring, to be perfectly transparent. So yeah. Hopefully January will be exciting when they release a firmware update for the Mavic 3 and everyone will get what they are hoping for. So let's see here. So I have lost track of all the comments here. Hey, there's a lot of comments, man.
There's a lot of comments.
We are way.
We need to crack on. Thanks for sticking with us, by the way, guys.
Okay, what kind of Android pad should I use with the S2? The 2S, I guess. Hate using my phone. I really have no good answer to that because I really don't know the Android pads that are available. Do you know that, Gavin?
Truthfully, no. I feel like we should know that, but I find it more convenient to still fly with my phone. In fact, to be honest with you, if I still use the standard cases. I don't even have a hard case or with big tablets. I just take these out with me. I find them so much easier, if I'm honest. So I just use my phone. Or if I'm vlogging as trying to make a YouTube channel, I just put my DJI Osmo just in my bag as well. It's amazing how much you can fit in those bags. But yeah, obviously I would need to get a bigger.
I guess bag. If you have enough money, one thing that I could suggest, I haven't tried it myself, but I've thought about it many times, is to get one of these, what are they called? Triple tech? These external screens. They are basically like a downsized iPad. It's not an iPad if it's Android, but a downsized pad, like 10-inch screen or something. And it's very, very bright. It's like 2000 nits or something like that. So you can see it in bright sunlight. You can see it outdoor, and it's you can use that as a dedicated device. So I guess, and I can't remember how much it is, but at least I've considered getting one of those at some point. So let's see here. So I don't think Mavic 3 is a consumer drone. That is probably true. It kind of falls between two chairs because it's expensive enough that at least if you go for the Cine version, I would think maybe you could pick up like a second-hand Inspire for that price tag, and that's definitely more professional than the Mavic 3 is. Because you can change the camera and the optics in front of the camera and all that stuff. So here's an interesting comment. Hobbs and Sino Mini SE. You have been experimenting with these, yeah? You had one of these? Which one was it that you had? Was it the Hobson or was it the other one that was out? Did you have one of those, Gavin?
No, I bought the Fimi.
I bought the Fimi was it, yeah.
Mini. It was quite a lot of fun, actually, considering I got it on launch and I paid a really cheap price. However, I think many of you did actually watch that. It finally arrived. I was one of the first YouTubers to actually get the drone, and then it just didn't work. The controller didn't pair with the drone. That was it was just trash. And then actually, after a short while, I think some updates came out, and I managed to get it to actually bind. And then I did a couple of flights with it. I did a full flight review, and it wasn't bad, actually. And then if you remember, Henrik, I did that absolutely crazy return to home test with that Fimi, where it was quite high winds, and it took off and just blew straight off the way, and it landed right in the middle of the pad. Absolutely unreal. But no, I've never had the Hubsan, really. I've never really had any experience with them.
But there's no doubt that there are some interesting competitors out there starting to arrive on the market. But what you basically buy into, and maybe I'm wrong saying that, but what you buy into with the DJI ecosystem is the ease of use of the drones. Regardless of the small flaws that we're seeing constantly as the sort of the ecosystem grows, it's still the software works more or less every time. And there are really no surprises. And especially when they're starting to use the same app for multiple drones, it's very easy to transition from one drone to another drone.
Yeah.
So it's...
We'll get to that in a second. Just Drone Views Media. The Fimi is great if you want a crooked neck from Crooked Horizon. Yeah, obviously it's great if you watch it like that. Perfect.
So then there's this one, and this is absolutely correct. If you don't know photography and filming, the drone doesn't mean anything, and that's correct. You can make fantastic footage with the Mini. No doubt about that if you know how to use it. And everyone that has a drone out there, they should spend time on studying compositions, how you expose correctly, and all that stuff, because this is knowledge that can be reused through the entire line of drones, basically, as it's just a camera. It's basically just a tripod in the sky, more or less, in most scenarios. So you can apply a lot of the knowledge that you have from the ground-based cameras. You can apply that to your drone as well. So, amen. So let's just, I have to jump a little bit in these questions here because there's so many. So, yeah, that's interesting. I don't know if you heard that rumor, is that they want to release a new Mavic 3 combo, where you basically get the standard version of the Mavic 3 with the smart controller, and that is supposedly to be available sometimes during January.
Right. Not something I've really covered. Like I say, for those of you that was here at the beginning, the Mavic 3, for me, I've concentrated, and I'm going to concentrate my channel on the smaller drones, because I think that's an interesting part of the market nowadays, especially with the restrictions. I think that's where my channel suits. So,
yeah. If I look at this from the outside, first of all, the drone, as we just talked about, is probably out of reach for most people as a hobby toy that they want to buy. So the audience for that drone is not very big. And if you take the Cine version, it produces file sizes that are so huge that probably the most people won't have a computer that will be able to handle this. As it's actually ProRes. It's not that stressful to the computer itself, but it requires a ton of storage to handle.
Yeah.
So everything around it will explode, basically, when you have. And the last thing that I heard is that offloading the footage is kind of a pain, because the only way of getting the footage off the Cine version is by using a USB-C cable. And I've heard rumors that you are some have basically more or less depleted a whole battery, emptying the footage of this non-removable SSD drive that's inside the drone. So it's not that straightforward to go for the Cine version. So yeah. Buying the current Mavic 3 is like buying a car without brakes and headlights.
I mean, you can do some things with it, don't get me wrong, but
and to be fair to DJI is, if that's said correctly, is that they always deliver, opposed to other companies that they just drop a product on the market and leave it. Then you're always getting updates and new features, even maybe as long as a year after the product has been released. You're still getting new stuff in your hands. So in that regards, they're a good company. So yeah, so he's a clever guy, this Freddy.
Absolutely.
So, Freddy, man, you are from Norway. Yeah, I remember that. You have some pretty nice backdrops that you can fly up there. I was 2 years ago. I was in Hemsedal, and that's a really, really nice ski resort. I was there in the summer, even though there was not much summer when I was there. It was raining most of the time, but it's really, really beautiful. Really, really beautiful. So let's see here. There's one that is considering upgrading from the Air 2 to the Air 2S. I would say that's probably a good idea. The Air 2 is also a fantastic drone. At least I enjoyed it a lot when I had it for a short while. The 2S is of course better in many ways, but yeah. At least I would not be upgrading to any new drone anytime soon until they have resolved all the issues about the legislation with the C labeling of the drones, because that will have a very dramatic impact on where you can use the drones going forward. So, okay, here's one for you. You are the connectivity expert.
I was waiting for this one. I was already reading it. Yeah, I was on it already. Right, I'll answer it. I did a test, and I put some 5.8 gigahertz Yagis, and I flew it in an urban area. Okay, and many people again didn't like the test because they said if you had just gone in a straight line, it would have been better. They would have worked and you'd have got more range, but people don't fly in straight lines unless you're doing range tests. Okay. And basically what I found is when, obviously, you have to imagine more houses here in the UK, as well as obviously mobile networks. There is more 5.8 gigahertz frequencies floating around now. These masts are going up all the time. And even though I've not actually done the video on it yet, I actually found something quite interesting where I flew in an area and manually put the Mini 2 on a 2.4 frequency, and it kept the signal better than the 5.8. And I just think that the Yagis really don't really help now, and you're still better off, especially on the Mini 2. Again, many people will disagree with me, it's just my findings. But yeah, I'm finding that leaving the drone to its OcuSync, where it can switch to that 2.4 if needed, especially as 5.8 frequencies are becoming more and more flooded and saturated, is the way to go still, rather than looking at Yagis or range extenders for the Mini 2.
That's also my experience, is that 2.8 2.4 is it reaches way longer than 5.8. At least I stopped doing range tests a while back. So the last one I did was with the original Mavic Air, and I flew it over water, and I flew it out to 3.2 kilometers when I had to return it, because otherwise I wouldn't have had battery to return back. I think I could maybe have continued a little bit more, but then I switched it into 5.8, and it broke up around 800 meters or something like that. So
I think just to sort of wrap up that one, the trouble is, whilst they may have possibly worked a short while ago, and using that 5.8 gigahertz frequency and using Yagis would not necessarily give you more distance, but a stronger signal. They would have done. But now here, like I say, here in the UK, and I know David, who's sent that question, the trouble is 5.8 is just saturated now. So it's actually, I'm finding less interference on 2.4, even in urban areas. That's what I found.
Yeah. I just recall that even operating the Mavic Air in around Kronborg, the castle where I normally fly, the old castle, the castle of Hamlet in Helsingør, it was completely impossible to fly that drone. I could only get, I don't know, out to 200-300 meters. Then everything was starting to break up because of interference. So it's really depending on where you're flying and how much pollution there is on 2.4 or 5.8.
Yeah, but with the Mini 2, you are better off just leaving it to do its thing. No extenders, and it will switch to get you the best signal. And I still think that's the best solution.
So let's see here. What do we have here? So there's an interesting question here. A Facebook question is, it's in Danish, so I just translated. Do you think it's better to use 30 FPS than 20 to 25 FPS? I shoot all of my videos in 30 FPS. I don't know why I ended up doing that, because I'm in Europe, so I was actually supposed to do like 25 FPS, which is the PAL resolution. But I think that when you're switching between different modes like slow motion and stuff like that, it's easier to do that with 30, because you kind of needs to be able to divide it. You can't use 120 FPS footage on a 25 FPS timeline, because then there will be frames missing or too many frames there, so you will get choppy and jerky footage. So I've basically settled to use 30 FPS on all my footage. I don't know what you're using, Gavin.
I use 30 on everything.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's better. Some would say that you get a more cinematic look with 24, because that's what the movies are making, but I'm not sure. I don't know. There's a lot more that goes into making cinematic stuff than just the frame rate. So let's see here. So yes, coast to coast drones are here. Yes, plus 40 watching. Yeah, 49 as it is right now. More likes, please. Yes, put some likes on the fire. And see, I actually put a Christmas tree up because somebody complained on the last live stream that I didn't have any Christmas stuff here. So I bought a Christmas tree and put that up. So, yeah, we just covered that in the beginning, waiting for Mavic 3. I don't know when we will see that. Maybe we will see like a Air 3 before we see a Mini 3. But you're right, there are not that many rumors about these smaller drones as it is right now. I guess the next small drone we will see is the auto ones. I was hoping those would be available. At least the Nano would be available before Christmas, but it doesn't seem like it. You actually reached out to you did a collaboration with a shop in UK around this, so you ordered one.
The last I spoke to them, they were still expecting it mid to late December. There was a slim chance before Christmas, and that's not really changed. But obviously, we're getting into, won't be far into the middle stages of December soon, and they look so promising and so exciting. I just wish we could get our hands on one and try it. But yeah, I still think the end of December, mid to end of December.
But they are awesome drones. I have the Evo 2 Pro. I have that up here somewhere. Let me just take it. Autel is a pretty huge company. They do a lot of other stuff than drones. I just like to pull that one out. It's such a big beast. It's like, I don't know, 4 times the size of the Nano. This is really a nice drone. And also a little bit intimidating when you bring it outside and you fly it around people. Then a lot of people would notice it. That's where the smaller drones have a huge advantage, that you can sneak up in the air and then basically do your filming without drawing too much attention.
I thought for a minute that you was bragging about your big one, Henrik.
A big orange one.
Oh, yeah.
How did it end up getting that color?
If it's that color, see a doctor.
yeah, exactly. So Drone 101 asks for what is the Discord username to gain access to the Discord server. I have a Discord server as part of the flight crew, the TDM flight crew program that I have on the channel, which is basically the channel membership program. And you can gain access to that by signing up as a member on the channel, and then you will get a link to the Discord channel. And if you're already in there, my name is HEO. So we can hang out and chat in there if you decide to become a member of the channel. That will also give you a nice sticky here. So when you are participating in the chat, everyone will be able to see your comment. It will basically be highlighted in a color. So it will be much easier for us to pick comments that from actual members of the channel among all the other 1,000 comments that are in this in this chat as it is right now. So I definitely recommend to go and check that out. So let's see here. That one, we covered that one. So that's interesting. Yeah, we already got that one. Yeah, we are not moving very fast forward here. So there's a question for you about predictions of the new drones. I guess we talked about that already. There's no rumors about it, so it would be pretty hard to come with some valid prediction on anything.
Yeah, there's no information so far. Usually, as DJI launch products or start to, you generally get some rumors and some leaks, but there's been nothing really.
No. So let's see here. I want to improve your server. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I remember that. Maybe. You actually commented on that on one of the videos that something could be done to the Discord. Maybe we need to take that one out offline. I'll make sure that you can write me on an email so we can discuss about that. I'm pretty new to Discord. I just heard that this is what the young guys want. No, it's a great tool for having chats running. So of course we should have that opportunity here, because there's not really that many possibilities to do social interaction on YouTube, the standard platform. Only that writing comments and me answering back and forward. It's not really optimal for like having a continuous discussion among multiple people. So let's see if we can get that Discord up and running, so we can get some excitement there as well. So Denmark is a great country for range testing, flat and a lot of fields. Yes, and we have a lot of water where you can do it as well. But still, we need to obey the law and keep within visual line of sight. And that puts sort of a limitation to how far you can go with that. I'm still surprised.
It really does, especially when I built my channel on range testing, and now some can't do
it. Yeah, so that's true.
But I still get the US guys saying, "You've only gone 500 meters."
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So So I don't know how to do that. Drone 101. Put your Discord username on screen so I can add you. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm such a noob for this. I think we need to communicate about that off this live stream. So now you don't have time for any more live streaming here. That's just an update.
I've got you, David. I've checked. I was doing that a minute ago. It hasn't been unless it's within the app. So you've got me there.
So let's see. This one. Please tell me where to start FPV from. At the moment, I'm flying Air 2S. Yeah, that's a pretty good question, but a good suggestion would just say.
Henrik's grabbing all these kits that I don't have.
It's nice when I get a chance to flash some of my drones, but I had a lot of fun with this one, the Beta FPV. So this is basically like this small bag. It's actually bigger than the mini one bag. And what you get in this kit is that you're getting a small tiny whoop style drone with a camera in front of it. Oh, this way. And it's very, very solid, and it can take a lot of beating. Then you're getting a nice pair of goggles, and you're getting a remote, and then you're getting some accessories here. And I think maybe that I think they discontinued this model, but I think you can get started for around $130 or so. So it's really, really easy to try and get your feet wet with FPV, and it's surprisingly difficult. So I would not suggest that you start out with one of the bigger drones to do that. It's really nice, and especially when it's winter time, you can fly inside your house and then try and practice and learn the stuff. And there's a very easy teaching mode on this one that will allow you to get started. It's quite fun, actually. So Beta FPV would be my suggestion to start out there and see if you like it. You can also fly it outside if there's not too much wind. You can easily fly it outside, but be careful. That one is pretty fast. So it's not pretty fast if you're used to flying FPV, but at least for me, it was pretty fast. And you very easily lose control if you're not used to flying in acro mode. But the good thing is that it can take a lot of beating. So it's a good tool to learn and test on.
Can I just quickly jump in on that one? Again, it's a new product, and as Henrik will tell you, we genuinely get lots and lots of emails behind the scenes asking us to review products. And I've just had a little flick through the comments, and a company from Norway have launched something called the Drone Mask. Basically, what you do is it's like goggles and a mask, and you slot your phone in it. And it sort of gives you a bit of an FPV experience. Now, funnily enough, that is a product that I'm actually looking to review. I'm well behind because they actually wrote to me in the middle of November, and I've only just picked up the email and spoke to them this morning. And they have asked me if I still want to review it. I mean, I appreciate you guys might have seen it already from another couple of YouTubers. That's quite a cool little option, really. To just do that, and I actually was having a conversation with Nobby Green, who's in this chat as well earlier, and the Air 2S is that fast in sport mode that you could possibly get quite a decent experience using that drone mask. So yeah, just to put that as an option there as well.
Yeah. That's also a way of, and you can switch it to FPV mode. So it basically bangs every time you turn and stuff like that. So that might be also a way to start. But getting your hands on a real FPV drone, that's not the way to start, I guess. You need something that's at least some beginner mode or something that maybe do some simulations. I think you can actually do simulations with this one as well. You can hook the remote up to the computer and then you can fly simulations. So at least you get a feeling of it's. If you think you can fly when you fly a GPS-assisted drone, I tell you, you cannot. and just
as you turn that GPS assistance off, I got a little drone sent to me. The review will come in the next couple of weeks, and it doesn't. Initially, it wasn't picking up any GPS, and I was sort of flying at him mode, and it had no stabilization whatsoever. And I genuinely thought I'm going to have to stop now and recompose myself, because if I crash it, I'm not going to be able to do the review. It's a completely different ball game.
Yeah, it is, and actually, the reason why I know it is not because I'm a big FPV pilot, is that I started building my own drones before I even started flying the Phantom 3. I think was the first one I got. I built my own drones. I was sort of obsessed with the tricopters. I don't know if you know those, but they're like three-bladed drones, and then they can tilt the tail, so it can turn very rapidly around. And of course, I had to try to do a flip with that one, and like a 360, but it only ended up being a 270. Then you can sort of and setting up your own drones and for building everything from scratch, it's so much easier. It's the DJI is really taking every difficult things out of flying drones. That's for sure. Because I ended up using most of the time fiddling with the controllers and fiddling with settings and trying to optimize this and that instead of just flying.
Yeah.
So that was a side story.
We're probably going to have to try and rattle through these questions a bit quicker. There's so many.
Yeah, but we will not go through all of them. That's the way. Unfortunately, the way it is. So yeah, that one's a funny one. That was the one I put out where I tested the dislike function. I really appreciate that. We have also been discussing a lot back and forth.
Even though dislikes don't show to you, the viewers, we still see them. So yeah.
Yeah, we do. We still have yeah. So okay, I'm scrolling here. So let's see. Now I'm cheating a little bit. I'm jumping forward. I'm just trying to get a feeling of how many comments there are. There are so many. We won't be going through all those because otherwise we'll be sitting here until tomorrow.
We've already been on for an hour and 2 minutes.
Yeah. You know that I told you that? It's like stepping into a time machine when you're doing these live streams. It's like the time is just, and then we have spent a lot of the time. Yeah. So, okay, you have been further down. Yeah.
Yeah, just to quickly jump in, Mavic Air Flyer. So I basically, if you kept up with the channel, I went away last week and just took some time out. And that Mavic Air that I bought from eBay is all back, as you know, it's all fixed. And that video where I flew it for the first time is actually filmed and on my channel. I just need to come up with a thumbnail. And then, yeah, I will probably look to launch that at the weekend. It's already filmed, already good to go. So, yeah, that will be coming soon. But, yeah, it's quite an interesting experience. And, you know, I would try to do it as a bit more of a... I was quite shocked at how good the older technology actually still was, if I'm honest. I think it was a cracking drone, signal issues aside. But, yeah, the Mavic Air was quite a good drone. But you'll see that in the video once I launch it.
Do you have any other questions that you have stumbled across when I'm just rambling away here to the camera? It's pretty hard to keep up with this. Can you pull up some of these questions from you? And I can't remember if you can do that.
No, I can't. I can just view them.
That would have been easier. So yeah, that's true. The way to increase the VLOS is to put something on there that flashes. You have been doing some testing with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't stop people complaining at you though. Saying, because I did a video and it was out to the it was out over the Humber, which of course it's about 4 kilometers wide, and obviously it's dark night. I can't hit anything. It's just over water, and I tested the Phytron strobes, and I put a red and green light on for orientation. And I basically flew the drone 2,500 meters away. And then what I did is I tilted the camera down, made sure I had no compass or map on the screen, and flew the drone back using visual line of sight only, proving that you could see it that far and fly it safely. It still didn't stop people moaning, though, even though I could obviously see it. Otherwise, it wouldn't have come back. But yeah, that's always a good idea. And again, I just do need to get around to filming these videos, because somewhere in a box below my knees, I have got quite a few of the Flytron strobe lights to give away. Okay, so that is an upcoming video. So if you do want one of those, you can watch one of my videos where I review them, and you can use GavinHR as a discount code for them. But yeah, I will be doing a video where I give some away as well.
Have you done any giveaways in the past? I can't remember that.
I did one. I did a landing pad one. And yeah,
it's sometimes difficult to do this if you have like a global audience. So it's like, how do you get the products to the people that win? Unless you have a company that ships globally, sometimes it's a bit difficult.
Yeah,
I did a giveaway at one time with the Osmo Pocket, and it was a guy in in Australia that won it, and it cost me as much as the Osmo Pocket to ship it to the guy. So it was that was kind of a challenge. So there are so many questions in here, and we will not be able to go through all of them, because I have basically maybe 15 minutes left until I need to round this off, and we will not be able to go through all of them. Or maybe there was an end here to this. So let's just see what and we skip some of them. That's unfortunate. This is how it is. So there's one I think we need to address here. I'm still nervous about flying in winter. Do you? What's the limit, and what do you need to be aware of with the Mini 2? I would say I have only seen problems if the batteries are getting cold. Then the drone refuses to take off. But apart from that, the biggest problem flying in wintertime is that keeping your hands warm. There's ways around that, but this is if you keep your batteries warm, you can fly in sub-zero conditions. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Fish Diaries, you've asked a question: is there any known battery errors with the Air 2S? DJI had to replace mine and it wouldn't take off. I've not personally experienced any. That's all I can really say on that one. My batteries have been fine. The discharge fine. So yeah, not that I'm aware of.
USB hand warmer. Yeah, I also have like this what is it called, a muff, where you can put in your hands from each side, and then there's like a glass window so you can see the controller. You feel pretty dumb standing with that device out there, but it keeps your hands warm when you're flying in winter. So yeah, I think basically I want to round off this live stream as it is right now. If that's okay with you, Gavin, we can always do it another time, especially if you leave some nice comments for us below the video during behind the slide below this live stream. Then we definitely feel encouraged to do this another time. And also, there was not much of a direction today. We had that discussion before we started the live stream. Should we put a topic there, or should we put a topic here? But
I think Henrik wanted to put a topic. I was more happy for it to be a free for all.
And but I think it worked out pretty nice. There were some pretty good questions from you guys. I'm sorry that we didn't get around to answering all of them, but I still think we covered a lot of ground during this 1 hour. And
just a quick one, Drone City. Both of us, both myself and Henrik, have done full explanations on ND filters. So if you just look back through our videos, you'll be able to see exactly when and where you should use them.
Also, Gavin, I think maybe we should just plug your channel here finally for the last one here, in case. Let me just do this. Let's find your.
And whilst Herent's doing that, somebody asked about flying in rain, given the fact that I live in the UK. Yes, it does rain a fair bit here, but no, I wouldn't advise flying in the rain. However, I have to say that I did once get fully caught out in a huge storm brewed from nowhere with the Mavic Mini, and it got drenched, and it was absolutely fine. And then I accidentally dunked my DJI Mini 2 in a freshwater puddle, and yeah, that actually just dried out and lived. So yeah, that was fine as well.
So this is Gavin's channel, and I put in a link for it somewhere here. So it's linked in the chat here as well. So you should definitely go and check out some of the videos that Gavin has made on a variety of topics, especially the updates for the DJI Fly app. You're the king of the DJI Fly app. So
one quick thing, Serenity Sounds. If we missed your question, just pop the question on one of my videos, and I'll pick it up later on.
Sure, that's a super service that we can offer to the audience tonight. Yeah. So and if you can't find a video where you're going to pop these questions, then simply pop them below the live stream here, and then we will take a closer look at it and maybe do a follow-up later.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you, everyone, and take care, and make sure that if you like this video, then make sure to press the like button. If you didn't like it, make sure to press the dislike button twice. Thank you for watching, and over and out.
See you all soon.